case doesn't add up, what are we missing? Some cases aren't unsolved because there's no evidence. So, good afternoon. Today we are working on They Didn't Misunderstand You. So, if you know my love for Robert Stack, you know I'm drawn to things that don't quite add up. My name is Buffy. I'm a women's lifestyle creator and a YouTube podcaster on Recovering Perfectionist Mama and Grace and Gavel. Today we're talking about They Didn't Misunderstand You. If you know my love for Robert Stack, you know I'm drawn to things that don't quite add up. And today, this is one of those conversations because a lot of you weren't misunderstood. You were dismissed. And dismissal is essentially something that no one wants to experience. However, whether we see it sometimes or not, know that we've been dismissed, especially when we continue to repeat the things over and over again in a conversation and someone continues to ask us the same questions. And that is because they weren't paying attention, they didn't have an intention to pay attention, and they wanted to misunderstand us and maybe frustrate us from the very beginning, which can be extremely difficult to navigate and to handle. So we've all had that moment when we walk away thinking, maybe I didn't explain it right, especially if you're a woman, because generally women tend to think that they aren't making themselves clear, that they're talking in circles, or that they're not conveying the message that they want to convey for various reasons. A lot of it is conditioning through childhood. A lot of it is just not feeling like you were able to actually convey a message. Maybe you had a stuttering issue. Maybe you had a speech impediment. Maybe you had some other thing that made you feel like you were less than when it came to conveying your ideas. Maybe you were made fun of. Maybe you were bullied. I mean, all those things can play a big part into how you live your life today, right? Things that happen in childhood can come back and kind of leave a little stinging sensation even all these years later. Maybe I didn't explain it right. Maybe I should have said it better. But what if that's not what happened, right? I see new people coming in. Let's do a quick reset. We're talking about the difference between being misunderstood and being dismissed. Let's talk about this. Have you ever been told it was a misunderstanding when it wasn't? Feel free to say me or to definitely, thumbs up or something like that. And what's a private phrase people use to misunderstand you, right? I didn't hear you clearly. You weren't talking clearly. What you said made no sense. You're overreacting. Why are you so sensitive? What's your problem? Type yes if you understand this. I know many of you have probably likely dealt with that. So, for example, family members would have no issue telling you you've been told you were too sensitive, but no one addresses what actually hurts you, which can be extremely difficult. Hi, Lynn. How are you today? Thanks for coming in. Or example two, relationships. You've set a boundary and suddenly the issue becomes your tone, not what happens. Good to hear it. Hi, Ozelius. Hi, Jacob. And so today we're talking about you're being dismissed. You're not being listened to. So what you're saying isn't coming through to someone because they don't want it to come through to someone. They want to distract. They want to frustrate. They want to annoy you so that maybe you'll stop talking or maybe you'll just walk away. But ultimately, you can't have a conversation with just yourself. I mean, I guess you can, privately, I guess. But ultimately, if somebody is sitting across the table from you and you're trying to have a conversation and they continue to just not listen, zone out, ask you things that you've already talked about, are you even having a conversation? Or would you be better just hitting your head on the wall, right? And hoping that you get something out of it, And there are a lot of rude people. I think some of it is rudeness. I think some of it is control because they like to have control. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. They like to have control. They like to be in control. They like to have the power dynamic to say, I'm in control. I'm powerful. Look what I've done. Look how strong I am. Look how smart I am. I had this person think that they were saying the wrong things. They weren't. I heard everything they said. I just didn't want to listen to it because that's who I am. Aren't I awesome? And it's like, why do that? Why literally sit beside someone or, across the table from someone and not even listen to what they're trying to say? It seems like a lot of people don't want a true connection. They want a surface level connection. Hey, how's the weather today? Are you okay? What's your favorite thing to do? Oh, you like to read. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's enough of that, and it's like nobody wants to connect anymore, it seems like a lot of times. But it's like you set a boundary and suddenly the issue becomes your tone, not what happened. Because ultimately that diverts you, that distracts you, that keeps you from trying to maintain a connection, trying to build a connection. Because now you're defending yourself. You're talking about what tone you used. Your tone was nasty. Your tone was mean. Your tone offended me. I'm sorry. I say things a certain way. You say things a certain way. I wasn't meaning to offend you with my tone. And then there you go. You're on the offensive now, explaining why you had a certain tone. Not your words, but your tone. If you are like me, I mean, I can't analyze my tone, but I do think that it's mainly facial expressions sometimes that do more for me. But ultimately, people say how they say things, right? And so a lot of people do read tone. Most people don't generally. They just listen to what somebody's saying and they go from there. But if you're trying to divert and distract, you pick every single thing. Oh, I caught you with that eye roll. So clearly, you were not happy about what I just said. So that's a you issue. Here I am here trying to listen to what you have to say, and you're rolling your eyes at me. Now, whether or not you rolled your eyes, I mean, that's one thing, right? But come on. So, and then you have something where you bring up something valid. You say, well, I was thinking about this scenario where we said that we were going to talk about this. We haven't talked about that yet, and I really would like to. Then it gets reframed as miscommunication. You aren't communicating clearly. Well, you're sitting over there not saying anything. You're sitting over there like asking me questions that I've already answered. I don't understand what you are doing. Like, what is going on? Oh, that must have been a miscommunication, right? Or you're told you're too sensitive, or you're told you're not enough, or but no one addresses what actually hurt you. And that can be the thing that can be frustrating. We came here to have a conversation about being misunderstood, us not having this back and forth. I'm trying to reconnect, I'm trying to build on this, and it's not working, right? So you were just speaking in a way that didn't benefit anyone anymore. And that changes how people are wanting to respond to you. If this resonated, I have a full video on this. You can go check it out after the live. It's on Recovering Perfectionist Mama, which is housed on YouTube. And ultimately, a lot of people are misunderstood. They're misunderstood because people are in a hurry to have a conversation. They're in a hurry to try to have a mutual understanding and a mutual respect for other people because they don't feel like they have time. Now, rightly or wrongly, I don't know. But I think that there should be more time spent on connection and less time spent on where do I have to go next? What do I have to do next? So just want to say thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I hope you guys will come back and see me again soon. I go live on TikTok live at noon Eastern. I go live on YouTube live at 12:30 Eastern. And then I go on Instagram. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope that you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye-bye.